Hey everybody, welcome to this week's reading. Welcome if this is your first time tuning in. My name is Stephanie, and each week I bring you 3 keywords from the Akashic Records that I have channeled, as well as some oracle card and some crystal guidance for the upcoming week, just to give us a little bit of a head start on the energy that's coming toward us. So this week we are looking at January 15th through the 21st, 2023. I can't believe we're midway through January, the first month of 2023 already, but it is true. And then on the last day of this week, on Saturday, the 21st, we have our first new moon of 2023, and that will be a new moon in Aquarius. And this comes, if you are a regular viewer, you know I do not know much about astrology, though I find it fascinating, but I do kind of always find it fascinating to see how the information I'm getting from the Akashic Records and from the oracle cards and from the crystal guidance and just intuitively kind of matches up with the astrological guidance. So while I don't follow it closely, I do kind of keep tabs on things like the full moon, the new moon, and some of the retrogrades. And we are just coming out of a Mercury retrograde, which rules and guides communication, as well as a Mars retrograde, which is kind of more about action. So that happened we came out of that a little earlier in the month, I think the first week maybe. So things kind of getting back into the swing of things is the message I'm getting, where we have this new moon, which is great for creation, propelling things forward, action steps, and then we are out of those 2 retrograde periods. So perhaps for many of us, things getting moving this week as far as projects and that sort of thing. But the other message I keep getting is we may be looking at those from a new perspective or putting a new kind of spin on them that is different than how we've done things in the past. The way we create or what we want to create may be different than how we've done that in the past. So let's get started with the 3 Akashic keywords. This week I got unconventionality. Not 100% certain that's a word. Unconventional. I got unconventionality. So we're going with that. I'm going to talk about these one at a time. I usually spill the beans on all 3 at once, but I'm going to talk about these one at a time this week. So unconventionality, the message I got was think outside the box, which kind of goes along with what I was just saying a moment ago about new ways to view things as we move forward. So unconventionality, thinking outside the box. The next word I got was practicality. And I thought, that seems to be very much at odds with unconventionality. You know, if you're unconventional and you're thinking outside the box, how are you also being practical? But that was the second word I got, practicality. And the message I got surrounding that one was to take practical steps to implement that outside the box thinking. So I'll say that again because it took me a minute to wrap my head around it. So unconventionality and practicality. So the first is thinking outside the box, new ways of doing things, new ways of creating things. The second is taking practical, actionable steps to implement that new way of thinking, that unconventional way of thinking. So kind of a blend of unconventionality and practicality this week. And then the third keyword I got was balance. And it was kind of like, duh, I guess. If we are blending unconventionality with practicality, we're going to have to find a balance this week. And that is the balance between the outside the box plans and implementing them in our real day-to-day life. So unconventionality, practicality, and balance showing themselves to us this week. Let's talk first. Well, I'll show you the decks I'm using. Crystal guidance, it's going to be deck number 5 from the healingcrystals.com Oracle decks. And for the majority of the week, we are going to use this lovely Sacred Earth Oracle. And then the last day for that new moon that I mentioned on Saturday, we will use the Moonology Oracle cards. So let's get started with our crystal energy. I did draw the cards ahead of time, as I usually do, but I have not looked at these yet. So the crystal energy that comes out is absolutely perfect, I feel like, for the energy of this week. And it is amber calcite. All calcites are going to have kind of a nice, soothing, nurturing, supportive energy. It's just the way of the calcite. So orange, or amber particularly, is going to connect you to the energies of amplification, balance, that's our third keyword, and release. So kind of letting go of those things that get in the way of the out of the box thinking, but still finding that balance and practical ways to bring it in. The mantra or affirmation you can use to connect with amber calcite is, I am supported by the universe in all aspects of my life, whether it's, and it doesn't say this is me, whether it's out of the box or in the box, I am supported. So whether it's, the out of the box thinking that we're blending with practicality to find ways to bring in balance, that's what this is supporting us with this week. I am supported by the universe in all aspects of my life. Let's see if I can get this back far enough that you can see these. There we go. So then let's move on to the Sacred Earth Oracle. This would be our Sunday energy, is alchemy, very much that same kind of orange energy, that energy of creation, right? So alchemy, and alchemy, if you think of it kind of on the surface, is taking one thing and turning it into another. But what this card really says or alludes to is turning situations around, right? Making something new out of something that once was. So it's also about letting go of false limitations, kind of burning those away so that you're left with the pure creative energy. So that's our Sunday energy for this week. I like how this is starting out the energy of the week of a new moon. Monday, we have specialization. So what this card says to me is, do what works for you. Do you have a specialization? Have you been casting your net too wide kind of energy? Like, are you just throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks? Sometimes that's great, right? Sometimes that's the best way to get a project started. But for this week, the message I'm getting, and I just came across this phrase, I think last week, was niche down. And I kind of had to think about that for a minute, like niche down. What do you want to distill what you're working on down to? What is your specialization? How can you make this your own so that you are the only one who's doing it? You might have kind of like a Venn diagram, people overlapping with you so that there's helpful people in all these circles supporting you on your endeavor or just to bounce ideas off of. But this is your specialty. What is your specialty? What makes you special? And really looking at that from that out of the box thinking, that unconventionality, and saying, okay, this is what I do that's really cool. This is something that only I do. What action steps, how can I use practicality to bring this in to balance so that it actually manifests as what I want it to in my life? So niche down. What is your niche? What are you really passionate about? Not necessarily what am I good at? You can learn something new, you can become something new, but what am I passionate about that I want to bring into my life? So that's that specialization energy. Finding what works for you, finding your niche. So then Tuesday, we have the renewal card. So this same kind of energy. The renewal card says, give it a go. Let's try this. What could we do? How can we think outside the box? Be changeable, be adaptable. Don't be set in stone. So be unconventional. So that's our Tuesday energy. And then Wednesday, also right along the same lines, we have the stretch card. So this is not so much about comfort zone, like stretching outside a comfort zone, but this is about putting yourself out there, grabbing an opportunity that comes your way, even if it seems like it's something that's outside the box that you wouldn't normally entertain. Thinking, it's very much the thinking outside the box energy. So it's not stretching past where we're comfortable, it's niching down into what we're passionate about and stretching from that space. So just thinking outside the box, stretching the boundaries of the box this week. Thursday, we have brilliance. These are all very cohesive this week. So the brilliance card is about new ideas instead of old ways of doing things, and specifically to do with creativity, projects, things you want to bring to fruition, to bring into your reality. So brilliance is that same kind of passion energy, like lighting it up. What sparks my passion? What do I want to create more of? And being open to new ideas, which are those outside the box ideas, things you might not have thought of before. And just being open to all the ways that this kind of spark of creativity comes into your experience this week. Friday. See, look at the color scheme we have going on this week, right? With the energy of creation, that kind of sacral chakra energy. It matches the crystal, the amber calcite. So the space card, oh, look, there's a new moon on the space card. I just noticed that. That's kind of perfect. So the space card says, give yourself the space to change. Very much the energy of that unconventionality. Instead of lining yourself up with what you've done in the past, which could have felt good or may have not, but either way, instead of lining yourself up and starting from the point of where you were just at in the past, giving yourself space for that fresh start, even if it feels unconventional. And then kind of coming back around and saying, okay, how can I do this? If this is what sparks my passion, feels good, how can I do it? How can I bring this into my reality? How can I make it my specialization? So giving yourself space to kind of engage with things, experiment with things, adventure a little bit into realms you haven't visited, ideas you haven't visited, just ways of being that you might not have thought were possible in the past, opening up that space to allow the possibility or the potential for new things to come in. And then Saturday, our new moon in Aquarius, I did pull the guidebook on this one and draw this one ahead of time, this specific card ahead of time, I should say. So it is the new moon in Aquarius card, and it is bring love into the situation. So I kind of like this given the general energy of this reading. So how do we do these things without beating ourselves up about how we used to be, or maybe what worked for us in the past, or maybe what other people do, or what society says we should do, or convention says we should do? We become unconventional. And what's the easiest way to do with that if you're feeling a little kind of like a cork bobbing along in the water, like you don't really know where you're going? The easiest way to do this is to apply the energy of love and compassion to yourself, and just say, okay, I'm going to give myself this space in order to explore what my specialization might be, what might be best for me, and the practical steps that I'll take to bring balance into my life, to bring these things that I'm discovering I want into my life. So this new moon in Aquarius is all about progress and modernity. So this is the time to move forward. The new moon in Aquarius card means no looking back. Change is on its way and could come quickly. Whether you get the change you want depends on whether you believe you can have it and how much you're relying on others to bring that to you. So very much an energy of kind of going inside, like saying, this is an inside job. I have to be the one who decides what my specialization is, what my niche is, and how I want to bring this in, how I want to live my life, even if that looks unconventional to others. And that's coming in collectively as things do not look the same as they have in the past, whether that's jobs or relationships or just the ways we create things in our lives and what we want. Things are changing collectively. So it is a time for being open to doing things in what previously would have seemed to be an unconventional manner. So it says Aquarius energy has an electric feel to it. Certainly there is a sense you need to let go of the past and move towards your future as soon as possible. Be detached from this situation. This is unbelievable. This is the first time I've actually used this deck. Every other time I've used the moon card deck, it's the Moonology manifestation deck. This is the regular Moonology deck. But how many times have I said this phrase during this reading? Thinking outside the box will bring the solution is the guidance from this card. This is kind of unbelievable. I mean, like I just cracked this guidebook open. Thinking outside the box will bring the solution. And then the last sentence of the description is dropping convention works well with this energy. So my work here is done. That's just it's always interesting to see how it lines up, but that's extremely similar. So obviously new moon in Aquarius, very important for us this week. All of the guidance going to be very important to move smoothly through this energy and open ourselves up to what is best for us, open ourselves up to ease and feeling good in our lives. That's the big thing for this year, is finding ways to move through what we want to create and bring that in with ease, even if it looks unconventional, so that we're happy. That's the big thing for this year. So I hope you all enjoyed this reading. I am looking forward to this energy, and I will see you next week. Have a great new moon.